welcome to Madison Square Garden in New York for the 6th and final meeting of the season between the Knicks and the 76ers. Philadelphia at 43-35, only one game in front of Atlanta in the battle for playoff position. If the season ended today, the Sixers would face Milwaukee in the first round of the playoffs, while the Knicks appear to be headed in the direction of a matchup with Chicago, the next 2 games behind Indiana, as they angle for 7th and 8th position. Hi, everybody. I'm Marv Albert, along with John Andres. And, John, you look back at the Knicks' success over the Philadelphia 76ers this season, and one of the major reasons for it has been the play of Charles Oakley, who made his return after sitting out 5 games because of the knee injury, but he was back in action for some 24 minutes against the Celtics on Sunday.
Yes, it's good that Charles is back for many reasons. Naturally, rebound being the single one, but against the Philadelphia 76ers this year, Marv, he has been a tremendous scorer, something he hasn't been as consistent at against other teams. In fact, earlier this season in late January against the Sixers down in Philadelphia, he had a sensational game, scoring and rebounding, and that was followed up by a couple of games after that similarly. But in Philadelphia, he was very effective. A 24-point game. He hits that jump shot from long range, and Charles had the touch that night. He also did his usual Oakley thing, and that is work around the offensive boards where he was tough as usual. Converting that miss by Ewing very simply, finished a very strong game. 9 out of 12 from the field, 24 points, 9 rebounds, and that was followed by 2 more games when he was at 20 or better against the Sixers and in double figures in rebounding. So the Knicks can only hope Charles can give half of that tonight, considering it's only his 2nd game back.
And in the absence of Charles Barkley, the man who has stepped up and done the job for the 76ers has been Ron Anderson, and he's been particularly effective against the Knicks.
One of only 2 Sixers this year to play in all their games, Manute Bol being the other, but Ron Anderson has been consistent. Their high scorer off the bench has been put into that starting role now, and he delivered. And he delivered last week against the Knicks, particularly in Philadelphia, with a very big game. Ron effective as usual with the long jump shot. That's where he hurts you the most. He can also run the court, however. He's a complete player, and he'll hit the boards as he did against the Knicks, getting 10 rebounds. And he hurt the Knicks all over the court in that game. Ron Anderson has continued his fine play as a starter, as he did in their last 2 games, despite the fact there were losses. Anderson is truly an excellent shooter. And on that night against the Knicks last week, 25 points, 10 rebounds, 11 out of 20 from the field. And Anderson deserves a lot of attention from the Knicks tonight. He and Kiki Vandeweghe, as last week, should be some match, although Kiki Vandeweghe better bring the touch because he didn't have it last week.
And also Kiki better have the hands up. Ron Anderson, one of those players where coaches will always say, get the hands up. So it's the Knicks and the Philadelphia 76ers. They are completing their pregame warm-ups. We'll be back with the lineups after these words.
Was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
John Amarante with the singing of our national anthem. The New York Knicks at 37 and 42 going up against the Philadelphia 76ers, who have won 43 and dropped 35 on the road. The 76ers at 15 and 23, and the Knicks gunning for the 500 mark here at the Garden. We're set for the introduction of the lineups. Let's go to Mike Wesewski on the public address.
14, Ricky Green. And number 33, Hershey Hawkins. And the forwards, number 20, Ron Anderson. And number 35, Armin Gilliam. At center, number 44, Rick Mahorn. The trainer is Tony Harris. Assistant coaches Fred Carter and Buzz Brayman. And the head coach is Jim Lina. Charles Barkley and Kenny Payne will not play tonight due to injury. And now, here they are, the New York Knickerbockers. At the guards, number 1, Maurice Cheeks. And number 6, Trent Tucker. At the forwards, number 7, Kenny Walker. And number 55, Kiki Vandeweghe. At center, number 33, co-captain Patrick Ewing. The assistant trainer is Tim Walsh. The trainer is Mike Saunders. Assistant coaches Paul Silas, Jim Van Gundy, and Bob Salmi. And the head coach, John McLeod.
And the Knicks still without Gerald Wilkins on the injured list. Gerald sitting out with a severely sprained left ankle. There was a report earlier today. In fact, Gerald himself was quoted as saying he thought he might be able to make his return for the final home game of the regular season Saturday against Charlotte. However, now, according to John McLeod, he will not see action this Saturday night at the Garden, and they hope that he'll be back in time for the playoffs.
Marv, I was running around Central Park today with the earphones on, and the report was Gerald did an interview on WFAN earlier that he was playing, and everybody in the park was smiling as a result.
People jumping up and down.
Right. Then I came back to the Garden and found out that Gerald was a little hasty in his conclusions. So a healthy Gerald hopefully will return for the playoffs.
And later word on Charles Barkley, who is still sidelined because of a sprained left knee. He said today his injured knee may keep him from returning when the Sixers begin the playoffs next week. Barkley was injured in a game on the 31st of March. He did practice with a protective brace yesterday, but said he was in pain when he tried to make lateral moves. Said he was a bit disappointed in the way things went, and you know he's a guy that, if at all possible, would look to play. So he doesn't know when he will be able to return. The officials, Joe Crawford, Ronnie Nunn, and Gary Benson, as Vandeweghe opens up with the baseline drive, and the Knicks lead 2-0.
On Ron Anderson, who gave up that baseline.
Anderson being guarded by Vandeweghe. Hawkins rejected by Tucker.
When do you see a jump shot block? Boy, that's a rare sight.
Tucker beats Hawkins, and the Knicks lead 4-0.
The Knicks are having fun, Marv. 2 layups, 2 weak defensive situations by the Sixers, allowing layups. Ricky Green looking at Hawkins like he gave him some glare as he went up court, like, Percy, get with it.
76ers have lost 2 in a row. This after a couple of impressive victories. They walloped the Knicks last week at the Spectrum. They won in Chicago in double overtime. Mahorn on the rebound. However, Sunday afternoon at home, they lost to Minnesota 96-88. And their previous game, a loss at home to the Washington Bullets. Sixers 5-5 the last 10 games. Mahorn able to spring loose. So the Knicks now lead it by the score of 4-2.
That Wednesday game against the Knicks was followed by Friday against Washington. Unbelievable game. The Sixers have lost the touch. In that game against Washington in the first half, they shot 25%, 37 for the game. That was followed against Minnesota by 43%. The Sixers have lost the touch.
Ewing on the rebound. Tucker able to keep it alive. And here's Vandeweghe, broken up by Anderson. Hawkins. And the game is tied at 4. Ewing setting up against Mahorn and Strip. Here's Hawkins. Cheeks and Vandeweghe back, and Hawkins gives the Sixers a 6-4 lead. So Philadelphia with 6 unanswered after the Knicks jumped off to the 4-0 start.
Patrick Ewing is showing a problem that we haven't seen him involved in the past. In the last several games, he has been stripped of the ball going across the lane. He's got to protect it better, get his shoulder down into the defense.
Ewing, and he's tied it at 6. Nice lead for Anderson, and he was hacked by Vandeweghe. Pretty setup from Mahorn.
Vandeweghe is so anxious to deny Anderson the basketball, which is very important to good defense against solid scorers. But he made the mistake of turning his back to the passer. So the passer and Anderson got together on that play, and a nice backdoor play with the overplay by Vandeweghe resulted in this play.
Ron Anderson in his 7th season out of Fresno State. Began his NBA career with Cleveland and then on to Indiana. This is 3rd year with the Sixers, and he has blossomed as a member of the Philadelphia 76ers, usually effective coming off the bench, but in the absence of Charles Barkley, he has been in the starting lineup. Vandeweghe for 3. Yes. And the Knicks take a 9-8 lead.
Anderson got sloppy. It was 2 passes. The ball was 2 passes away from Vandeweghe, which means Vandeweghe is dangerous, but Ron didn't get up on him.
3.5 gone by in the first quarter. Mahorn. And Gilliam on the rebound, able to whip in. Kenny Walker gets to it. Kenny Walker comes off a good effort on Sunday against the Celtics. Nice play by Anderson to break it up.
That word effort is what really gave John McLeod good feelings despite the disappointing outcome of that game for the Knicks. Kenny Walker, as John McLeod said, gave all he had in that game, and that is recognized.
Ewing on the fadeaway. Patrick Ewing had a 12 for 22, 33 points against Boston Sunday, but only 4 rebounds. Again, as Hawkins fires. Ewing on the rebound. Once again, Ewing relying too often on fadeaway jumpers and 18 to 20 footers. He's been moving down low here in the early going against Mahorn.
As he should. He should have his wishes against Mahorn.
Ricky Green way off. Knicks with an 11-8 lead. Cheeks for Walker. That was slightly off target. Anderson ahead of the field, and the Knicks lead is now 1.
Great to watch great shooters like Anderson. They always have a way to get a good shot up, even in difficult position, as he did on that last shot.
The Knicks take a timeout with 7:19 left in the first quarter. The Horse Gallatin, 7-time NBA All-Star, 1-time New York Knick, 1-time Detroit Piston, 1-time coach of the Knicks, and now a basketball Hall of Famer who will be honored tonight at halftime.
Serving as an advisor to Knicks president Dave Checketts there on the bench.
Knicks with a 1-point lead, 5 minutes gone by in this first quarter. Ewing, that with 1 second on the 24. Harry Gallatin, a first-round draft pick. Walker on the rejection of Anderson. And here's Vandeweghe. So the Knicks lead it 13-10. Mahorn getting the good position. Harry Gallatin was a one-time teammate of Kiki Vandeweghe's dad, Ernie. He was a first-round draft pick back in 1948 of the old BAA. Here's Tucker off the screen. Vandeweghe not able to handle. Gilliam had it deflected, but last touched by the Knicks.
Harry Gallatin is certainly part of the lore of the New York Knickerbockers. So many people here tonight.
Sorry, John,
just
just clear your throat on the air. That's all right.
I got
no
a little
problem.
misty on that.
Hey, we all understand. You can't control yourself.
I wish you luck at halftime, Marv, when you're introducing Harry Gallatin. You're liable to choke up. We grew up with him watching.
No, wait. No,
We did.
I recall the tail end of his career as Mahorn gives the Sixers a 1-point lead.
Didn't you, and I say this, you're a humble guy.
Right.
I say this graciously in your direction. Didn't you name him the horse?
Very good, John. No. Vandeweghe is the Knicks a 1-point lead. No, that was you I named the horse. Vandeweghe off the steal. And a traveling violation called by Joe Crawford. Joe Crawford with fine memories of the last time he officiated a Knick Sixer game here at the Garden. 6 technical fouls in all were handed out. Manute Bol thrown out. Jim Lynam was not a happy guy. Ah, the memories.
You know, I got to tell you something, Lennis. When we walked across the court coming out here, I ran into Joe Crawford, and I innocently, just passing the time of day, said, Joe, have some fun tonight. And he probably thought I was referring to that, and I didn't even think of that.
You see, this is where you rub people wrong, John. You've got to understand that. Gilliam and the Sixers lead by 1. Charles Oakley has checked in, replacing Kenny Walker. You see, you think these things are funny. But he didn't take it right.
Well, he did smile. And he mentioned something about Rod Thorne.
That's right. Ewing. Nice move by Patrick Ewing. And the tip home. So Oakley gets credit. And the Knicks lead by 1. Fast pace first quarter. 4.5 remaining. John Starks getting set to come on. Tucker for 3. So the Knicks with their second from downtown.
Knicks certainly aren't running away with this thing, but yet for some reason they're communicating that they want to play tonight. They look into it and they look energetic in this game.
Basket does not count. It is a non-shooting foul. John Starks has come on for the first time. Starks for Tucker. Anderson off the pick. Cheeks leading Ewing. Beautifully tied. And the Knicks lead it 22-16. A nod of recognition from Patrick Ewing as he walked by Maurice Cheeks. Timeout taken by the Sixers. Will be paying tribute to newly elected Hall of Famers Harry the Horse Gallen and the late Larry Fleischer. That'll be halftime ceremonies coming up. A host of notables on hand for the ceremony, and Bruce Beck is alongside one of them.
Thank you, Marv. Eddie Donovan, who is the architect of the New York Knicks' first World Championship, and you hired Harry Gallatin as a head coach. Where did you do it, and how did it come about?
It took place around 11. I think it was finalized about 11:30 at night over in Ned Irish's apartment, and we worked on it most of the day, and it was a great move for us. I believe he brought something to the team, not of the old Knicks. He brought a lot of heart, and he left a lot of heart when he left New York.
Eddie, what about Harry Gallatin as a ball player wearing the Knick uniform?
Well, I'll tell you, he was a guy who always wanted him on your side. He paid the price to win, and I think he passed that around to anybody that he played with. You know, it's like everybody wants to go to heaven, but nobody wants to die to get there. But Harry paid the price, and I think he had problems. The only problem he ever had, he couldn't understand anyone not giving 110%.
We're with Eddie Donovan. Right now, let's go back to Marv Albert.
All right, Bruce. Marv, Eddie with a strong line. Very nice.
Would you like to go to heaven now?
Good line, Ed. Very nice.
That's good. You can lay that on the children and various people that cross your path.
Starks drawing the foul. He was shoved by Mahorn. Eddie Donovan, the one-time coach and general manager of the New York Knicks. And as Bruce mentioned, one of the keys in building the Knick championship ball clubs, made the big move. Howard Komine, Walt Bellamy in exchange for number 22, Dave DeBusschere, and that was the missing piece. And it was Eddie who pulled off the trade.
I think Dave should be here to thank Eddie tonight.
Yes.
Honor him. His life changed slightly.
The Knicks with their biggest lead of the game, 3:07 remaining first quarter, and the Knicks now lead it 23-16. Knicks with the advantage off the boards. They have been struggling in that department recently, out-rebounded by the Celtics 45-33 Sunday afternoon. The Knicks have not out-rebounded an opponent their last 12 games. Ron Anderson showing the touch.
Without Charles Oakley, the Knicks were out-rebounded. Philly was playing without Barkley, too, by 18 last week.
Brian Quinnett, Mark Jackson have come on for the first time. Quinnett's pass was picked off by Green and is held by Jackson.
Boy, one of the off-season or preseason areas of concentration for the Knicks is going to have to be passing the ball. And I don't mean making great passes, but just that last attempt by Quinnett. Telegraphed, not a spectacular play by Anderson. He just put his hand up and it was deflected. The Knicks don't present enough of a deceptive preliminary to their passing.
Ron Anderson has 8, and the Knicks lead it 23-20. Ewing with a beautiful pass. Oakley blow the layup. Well, Charles once again adding to the rebound total, able to hit the follow. A very wise move.
And no one could get that missed rebound. It was right in front of him. That was done brilliantly by Charles.
Here's Gilliam. And he's hit by Starks. Armin Gilliam will go to the line. You know, we're kidding about it, but you realize how many rebounds Charles Oakley has accumulated on missed shots leading to putbacks or misses leading to other misses, and the man is among the leaders in the rebounding department. He's number 4 in the NBA, averaging better than 12 per game.
Yes, he has to lead the league in that particular category that will never be presented as such. A truly meaningless category, but it is interesting when you see him play game in and game out. It seems to happen a good once a game, I would think.
Knicks 25, 76ers 22. Jackson and Starks in the backcourt. Ewing, Quinnett, Oakley up front. Oakley getting the good position. And Mahorn on the rebound. Lost it to Ewing. Patrick Ewing with the steal and the bucket. 8 points for Ewing. Knicks 27. And Philadelphia 22. Anderson firing away. He is shooting extremely well. 10 points for Ron Anderson.
That pick by Gilliam helped make it happen. Quinnett couldn't get around it quickly enough.
Again, the alley-oop. Second time that they pulled it off. Interesting, Mark Jackson signaling to the world that he threw the fine pass. Maurice Cheeks did it earlier in the quarter, put the head down and walked up court. Just the difference in style and ego between those two players. All right, here's another look at the Jackson toss to Ewing.
Yes, Mark saw Ewing in great position with Mahorn obviously backing up, not in position to defend. Well, Mark had a very strong game here Friday night against Indiana, then went up to Boston and was silent in 17 minutes of play. Didn't really get into it. And back here at the Garden, where he is most comfortable, he's anxious to wave that flag again, as he did Friday with that sensational game where he had a triple-double.
Knicks lead it by 4 as we come up on 1 minute left in the first quarter. Jason Williams, the rookie from St. John's, who's played well as of late, has come on for the first time. Knicks with a 3-point lead. Andre Turner has come on. He's guarding Mark Jackson. 8 on the 24. Down to 4. Patrick Ewing providing a 31-26 lead for the Knicks.
The Knicks are spreading out their offense here in the first quarter exceptionally well. It's giving them a lot of openings to drive or move the ball around, and they're doing a good job of moving the ball because they are so spread out.
Half minute to go in the first quarter. Quinnett, that shot from 3-point range. Look out. Mahorn did not like the poke he took from Oakley. And Ronnie Nunn had to separate the two.
Take another look at the adversaries here. Mahorn clearly with the ball. Oakley comes in and hangs in there in a very annoying manner, actually. Mahorn had clear control of the ball. And what bothered Mahorn most was the pain. His eye hurt. And then Oakley showing that he's aggressive and right back into it. hangs in there.
Well, Rick Mahorn particularly upset. He was poked in the left eye during warm-ups on Sunday by accident by teammate Jason Williams. He did go on to play 26 minutes, so you know he was not thrilled by taking another poke in the eye.
It seems so unnecessary. He had the ball, and the only way Oakley would get it would be to foul him. So it seemed from Mahorn's perspective, I'm sure, a very unnecessary move.
Eddie Wilkins has come on for Patrick Ewing. And the Knicks will hold for a final shot. Oakley now being guarded by Williams. Down to 10 seconds. Eddie Wilkins. There was a double technical call on Oakley and Mahorn. Oakley with the steal, starts for three. After one, it's the Knicks 33 and the 76ers 28. Well, recently the Philadelphia 76ers in a charity event conducted their own version of Family Feud, hosted by NBC Sports' Ahmad Rashad. This scene on Inside Stuff, presented by NBA Entertainment.
Name the ugliest player in the NBA. Charles Barkley. Manute Bol. Oh, he's not there. Ricky? Pat Ewing. I got Pat Ewing.
Well, the event did raise more than $60,000 for the Special Olympics. I didn't catch the winner of that contest, John. Ugliest player in the NBA?
I made a special effort to find that out, Marv. Larry Bird.
Oh. Patrick Ewing nominated?
Patrick second there, right on the list.
It's a tough crowd there in Philly, huh?
I don't think they were looking to make friends. I think they were looking to annoy people.
Not this group. They do have a twisted sense of humor between the likes of Charles Barkley and Rick Mahorn and Manute Bol, who just checked in. Second quarter underway. 3-second violation called. Sixers take over. Knicks lead at 33-28. Marv Albert, John Andres, Bruce Beck, Walt Clyde Frazier from the guard. Knicks with a good shooting first quarter. 54% from the field. Andre Turner kicking it out. Here's Brian Oliver, who just came on, and the foul on Jason Williams. One other category. John, a question asked in the 76er version of Family Feud: who has the silliest nickname in the NBA? And the candidates: Spud Webb, Mookie Blaylock, Pooh Richardson, Sleepy Floyd, Muggsy Bogues. And the number one answer was Spud Webb. They like Spud.
This is very important.
Yes. Oliver doing a good job with Starks, who has to get it away and hits with the shot clock down to one. A fling by Starks, and the Knicks now lead 35-28. Anderson up front with Williams and Bol. Turner and Oliver now in the backcourt. Andre Turner guarded by Mark Jackson. Here's Brian Oliver, the rookie from Georgia Tech. Turner. So the Knicks now lead at 35-30.
Mark Jackson will be looking to protect against the drive of Turner, so when he gives him that jump shot, makes Turner even tougher.
Jackson played very tight by Turner. Eddie Wilkins from deep.
And that was deep for Eddie Wilkins. But he made it look easy.
Knicks 37 and the Sixers 30. Offensive foul. It's on Oliver.
Well, 2 baskets ago, John Starks was running out of time after he lost the ball, then recaptured it, and with 1 second on the clock, that ball splashed the net.
Eddie Wilkins putting the move on Manute, and it cost. So Manute Bol with his first Rejection. Anderson. Good pull-up move by Ron Anderson. And the Knicks now lead 37-32. Anderson is the high man with 12. Ewing leads the Knicks with 12. Here's Jackson. Knicks 39 and the 76ers 32. Oliver squeezing in. It counts. The foul on Wilkins. And Brian Oliver will go to the free throw line.
Oliver tough going to the basket. Good protection of the ball by him, too, as he went in against Eddie Wilkins. Oliver on November 17th, early in the year here, the first game against the Sixers started as Ricky Green was out with a knee problem and had aimed 12 points, 7 assists, and he played 45 minutes of that game.
Oliver, a second-round draft pick. Here's Wilkins. And the shot altered by Minuta was fouled. Jackson tried to steal. And was called for the foul. Oh, they say Wilkins. Wilkins and Jackson combining, so Eddie Lee picks up his second. And the ball goes back to the 76ers.
John McLeod clearly favoring Charles Oakley. He played the whole quarter. He's still out there now. And Charles has had a very positive effect on the Knicks in this game so far.
Oliver. Foul on the act, according to Joe Crawford. Foul on Oakley. The Knicks have won 4 out of 5 this season against the Sixers. They won the first 4. They won Wallop last week at the Spectrum, 100-84. The Knicks had won 5 straight over Philly prior to the game last Wednesday. Trent Tucker returns. And he replaces John Starks.
Just looking at Joey Crawford, the official, after he made that call on Oakley, who looked like he was going to argue it, but then backed off. Joey Crawford wears an expression that says, "Don't fool around or you're going to get a technical," doesn't he? I mean, it's just the expression he has on his face is "Don't fool around." And he has communicated that many times to people who have learned it the hard way.
Sixers had hit their first 9 free throws until Oliver stepped to the line. Here's Quinette. He got the step on Ball.
Oh, Quinette is going to dream about that tonight when he drifts off. Ball was right there, but Quinette beat him.
The Knicks 41 and the 76ers 35. 3.5 gone by in the third. Here's Ball to the hoop for the hook. He hit a couple of hooks against the Knicks last week. And Jason Williams called for the foul. That's 2 on Williams. Jackson working on Turner. Jackson and Tucker now in the backcourt. Oakley up front with Quinette and Wilkins. Tucker got the room. Yes. Biggest lead of the game for the Knicks. Trent has 7. Knicks by 8. And the Sixers take a timeout. The Knicks, did you expect the Hornets would be featured?
Tried to drag you into it, Marv, and I gave it a little hesitation, and I succeeded.
Well, Charlotte Hornet photos to all, John. Oliver. And the Knicks now lead 43-37.
I personally wish there was a photo of the man of teal who wowed the All-Star game viewers with that somersault on the way to a slam dunk.
That was spectacular. Of course, there's Hugo the Hornet. Oakley. Charles, as you mentioned, putting forth a solid effort here in the first half. 6 points, and he's done the job off the boards. Also, the attitude on the court has spread. Knicks, as you called right at the start, John. What an eye for the tell. Looking up, energetic.
Look into it. They look tough right from the beginning of the game.
But then you ask the question, why shouldn't they?
I know. I only wish I had these answers, Marv. Can you imagine how John McLeod feels?
Patrick Ewing is back. Eddie Wilkins, after picking up his third, sits down, leads with 4 points. Armin Gilliam facing the double team of Ewing and Oakley. Here's Oliver. Oh, hard driving move by Brian Oliver. And the Knicks lead is 6. Oliver off the bench to hit for 7 points. Tucker wide open for 3. That is his second from downtown. He has 10 points.
Jim Lynam, the Sixers coach, can't be happy with his team's defensive intensity. They are a little slow in picking up their men.
Knicks lead it 48-39. There's Jason Williams. Pretty turnaround by Jason. And the Knicks now lead 48-41. Coming into tonight, the Knicks 2 games behind Indiana. Indiana, the number 7 spot. Ewing with 14. The Knicks are 8th. If the playoffs began today, it would be the Knicks against the Chicago Bulls, and Indiana would go against Boston. Philadelphia would face Milwaukee in the first round. Here's Gilliam. And Ewing on the rebound. Sixers and the Hawks only 1 game apart for 5th spot in the playoffs. So Milwaukee would have the home court advantage against the 76ers. Ewing. Good hustle by Oakley, but it will be 76er ball. Kiki Vandeweghe reporting back, replacing Brian Gwinnett, leads with a field goal for 2. 5.5 remaining in this first half. And the Knicks lead it 50-41. Coming up at halftime, the Knicks will be paying tribute to newly elected Hall of Famers Harry the Horse Gallatin and the late Larry Fleischer. That'll be ceremonies at halftime. Among the participants will be former Knicks captain Willis Reed, now senior vice president for the New Jersey Nets. Vandeweghe for Ewing. And Ewing was fouled. Larry Fleischer so instrumental in the founding and the implementation of the NBA Players Association. And he'll be represented here by his wife Vicky and sons Eric and Mark. And among those on hand to honor Harry Gallatin along with Willis Reed, there is number 19. Former Gallatin teammates Richie Guerin, Dick McGuire, George Captain, Bill Van Bredikoff, Ray Felix, Buddy Ackerman, former Knicks general manager Eddie Donovan, who we heard from earlier, and fellow Hall of Famers Red Holzman and Tom Golem. Manute Bol was just hit with a technical foul. Vandeweghe extends the Knicks lead to 10, and now Patrick Ewing to the line.
Larry Fleischer's impact, Marv, as you know, went far beyond pro basketball, because what he did for the NBA players spread to other sports, and the high salaries of players in other professional sports today are really due in many ways to the pace-setting thinking of Larry Fleischer.
Knicks lead it by 12. The tie between Willis Reed and Harry Gallatin. Willie and Harry share the Knicks' single game record of 33 rebounds, and they are 1-2 on the all-time Knicks career rebounding list.
And as Harry Gallatin reminded listeners to WFAN today in an interview, 85.
Are you on their payroll, John?
I'm not, I swear.
This is the 5th time you have referred.
Well, I think it's important to qualify. Where would I have heard Harry Gallatin?
Here's Hawkins.
WPLJ.
The electronic wizard. Our producer, Howie Singer, points out you're pushing for a co-hosting role with Steve Summers.
Right.
You have free time during the early morning hours? Is that
I think, I don't think there's any room. That station is filled. But anyway, the point was that 85% of the rebounding done in basketball is below the rim. And it's a point that bears repeating time and again when you see so much emphasis put on leaping in today's game and boxing out, which the Knicks as a team do so poorly.
Armin Gilliam called on the foul. Yeah, I like the ring to that. John and the Mad Dog. There's a nice, I mean, nothing against Francesa, but John and the Mad Dog.
Well, Mike is, actually there might be room. Mike is one of the hottest guys these days. Sports broadcasting. Look out, Marv.
Gilliam called for the travel. So let me see now, John. What you do all day is you run in the park with a headset and you listen to the radio. Is this what I'm getting out of this conversation?
Well,
basically, this is your life.
You could get that opinion, but no, I carve out a little niche in the day so that I can be trim and ready to go.
I see.
When I get here.
Just under 4 minutes to go in the first half. The Knicks lead by 10. Here's Ewing. And he was fouled. Hawkins coming over on the switch. Call for his first, and Patrick Ewing will go to the line. Ron Anderson is back, replacing Jason Williams, who leads with a field goal for 2.
So interesting when the Knicks play well together, as they are in this first half. Their spirit on the court is so visible, as it has been throughout this first half. But when they're not playing well, it seems to be a natural result that they aren't friends on the court. They're 5 guys on the same team. They have to make a better effort when things aren't going well to pull together and reflect that team spirit that they are doing here now.
The Knicks have a 12-point lead. Andre Turner working now against Maurice Cheeks. Turner and Hawkins in the backcourt. They turn it over. It is not clicking for the 76ers. Andre Turner will sit down. Ricky Green is back. Knicks with Cheeks and Tucker in the backcourt. Ewing, Vandeweghe, Walker up front, and John McLeod calling for a timeout with 3:31 left in the first half.
All right, please use good sense when you drink and know when to say when. A reminder from Budweiser.
Well, John, back on January 18th, 1954, this the East squad in the East-West NBA All-Star game that was played at the old Madison Square Garden. Quickly, John, left to right, identify these people.
Harry Gallatin, upper left. Carl Bruin, Dolph Schayes.
We'll get back to that. Harry Gallatin on the All-Star team on 7 occasions. The Knicks with a 55-43 lead as we come up on 3 minutes to go in the first half. Gilliam getting inside. Armin Gilliam cuts it to a 10-point Knick lead. Gilliam has 6. The high man for the 76ers, Ron Anderson, with 12. Patrick Ewing has had a strong first half, 18 points and 8 rebounds. Trent Tucker with 10. Kiki Vandeweghe has 10. Here's Trent off the dribble. Goes to the fadeaway.
What a tough shot going left, coming back to the right hand off the backboard.
Knicks lead 57-45.
Trent is coming off his season high Sunday afternoon against the Boston Celtics. 18 points.
5 on the shot clock. Mahorn for a 3. Cheeks eluding Hawkins. Knicks have the numbers. Cheeks all the way. And the Knicks lead by 14. Here's Green. Nice move by Ricky Green. That's an interesting matchup with the 2 veterans, Maurice Cheeks and Ricky Green, going at each other.
34 for Cheeks against 36-year-old Ricky Green.
And last touched by Gilliam. All right, back.
Okay, second from the right on top. Easy Ed McCauley, Neil Johnson. And below Neil Johnson, well, we'll go over to the left-hand side. Paul Arizin, number 12 there. Paul Seymour, Bob Cousy.
And Maurice Cheeks with his second bucket.
And that was Bill Sharman and then Dick McGuire. And what a game that was, Marv. Take another look there.
And the gentleman in the suit, Al Servey, won a championship as coach of the Syracuse Nationals. Ricky Green will go to the line.
That was such an exciting All-Star game that went into overtime thanks to George Mikan making a couple of foul shots after the regular game clock had ended. He had to go to the line to make 2 to tie, and I'll never forget being there. What an impression as a young high school player about confidence. George Mikan with a big fat smile goes to that line and makes 2 look easy, and 2 foul shots. And Cousy and McGuire at that time in the backcourt was a basketball player's dream to watch them pass the ball.
I remember listening to Marty Glickman describe the action on the radio. Here's Tucker with the reverse. And Ronnie Nunn says, stay right here. Foul called on the 76ers. Horn called for his second. Minute 17 left in the first half. 76ers over the foul limit. Knicks by 13 as Walker goes to the line. Coming up at halftime, you will see the ceremonies that will honor Harry Gallatin and the late Larry Fleischer. Bob Page will check out what is happening elsewhere in the world of sports at the MSG Sports Desk. Here is Manute Bol replacing Rick Mahorn. Incidentally, Harry Gallatin is now the golf coach. Always an avid golfer and a good one. Golf coach at Southern Illinois, the school that brought forth Walt Clyde Frazier. And it will be Nick Paul, last touched by Anderson. Knicks with their biggest lead of the night, a 15-point margin. It's been an outstanding first half for the Knicks. Harry Gallatin sitting at courtside saying, "These guys are terrific."
That's right.
37 and 42. What are you talking about? Here's Ewing. Yes. And the Knicks lead at 65-48.
Yes, they're rebounding, passing the ball, shooting it well. What's the big problem here?
Ewing has 20. Hersey Hawkins. Hersey with his fourth field goal. He has 8. And the Knicks lead at 65-50 with a half-minute remaining in the first half.
Well, Charles Oakley, who has been a very meaningful factor for the Knicks in the first half, has had the pleasure of playing the Sixers for the first time this season without Charles Barkley.
Hawkins off the steal. Walker back. Looks to time the block and called for the foul. See Kenny Walker slowing it down and trying to feel the pace of Hersey Hawkins.
Shows you how tough Hersey Hawkins is, though. He felt Walker's presence. Walker's bigger. He knows he can out-jump him. And Hawkins went up to the basket very strong. He's got a great physique and tremendous confidence in his own ability to do that.
Hawkins 2 for 2 from the free throw line. In his third year out of Bradley. Came on strong in the second half of last season. In his college days, he finished up as the NCAA's 5th all-time leading scorer. He's been playing hurt the last few weeks. Shoulders aching, sore back, twisted ankle.
You know, it's funny you say 5th all-time leading scorer. I mean, 5th all-time leading scorer. Wow.
In effect, you're impressed.
Boy.
Yeah, he had an incredible collegiate career. Final seconds of the half. Ewing. Oh! Spectacular tip by Kenny Walker.
Now, you know, what's Ewing going to say to him first thing, right? Nice pass, huh, Kenny?
Oh, what an ending to the first half. One of the superb halves of the season for the New York Knicks. Kenny Walker able to put it home. So at halftime, it's the Knicks 67 and the Philadelphia 76ers 52. We'll be back with the ceremonies honoring Harry Gallatin and Larry Fleischer.
Big first half for the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. It is 67-52, the Knicks over the Philadelphia 76ers. And Patrick Ewing leading the way for the New York Knicks. And the leading scorer summary is brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers. Advantage Jeep and Eagle. Patrick Ewing with 20 points in the first half. That is now 68 20-plus games for Ewing. Trent Tucker has 12 points. Kiki Vandeweghe with 10. And Charles Oakley playing a little more fluidly as he continues to recover from his knee injury. Oakley with 6 points in the first half of play. For the 76ers, who are without Charles Barkley tonight, Ron Anderson with 12, Hersey Hawkins with 12 points, and Rick Mahorn has 8. So tonight at Madison Square Garden, a very special ceremony as the Knicks are honoring Harry the Horse Gallatin. Harry the Horse Gallatin, the NBA's first Ironman, who will be inducted in the Naismith Memorial Basketball Hall of Fame on May the 13th. Also tonight being honored will be the family of Larry Fleischer, the brilliant New York attorney and the NBA General Counsel for more than 25 years. And here's a look at Harry the Horse Gallatin, a fine player for the Knicks for 9 years, a man who averaged 13 points and 10 rebounds per game in his career. Right now, let's pick up the public address with Mike Walshewski. Well, we're having a couple of technical difficulties. We'll be getting to the public address in just a couple of moments for the formal ceremony with many dignitaries here at the Garden. Now let's go back to the public address.
To the New York Knickerbockers tribute to Harry Gallatin and the late Larry Fleischer on their election to the Basketball Hall of Fame. And now we direct your attention to center court and our Master of Ceremonies, the voice of the Knickerbockers on MSG Network and from NBC Sports.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Larry Fleischer had an incredible impact on professional basketball as the driving force behind the NBA Players Association in its infancy and development. The New York Knicks are proud to pay tribute to his memory on his selection to the Basketball Hall of Fame. At this time, we'd like to introduce his wife, Vicky, and sons, Mark and David. To present the Fleischer family with a sterling silver as a token of recognition for his contributions to the game, here is New York Knicks assistant coach and the former president of the NBA Players Association, Paul Silas. Paul?
The inscription reads, "To the memory of Larry Fleischer and his everlasting impact on the NBA, its players and teams." On a personal note, I knew Larry for like 20 years, and I think he loved his family more than life, but second in line with the New York Knicks. Thank you very much.
Now we'd like to call upon Vicky Fleischer. Vicky?
I would like to thank Madison Square Garden and the Knicks organization for this tribute tonight. Larry Fleischer came from New York. Although he would never admit it, the Knicks held a special place for him. We are very proud and we thank you.
Right now, we'd like to introduce contemporaries of the Horse during his Hall of Fame career. His Knicks teammates to my left, Ray Felix, Buddy Ackerman, George Kaftan, and one of the all-time Knicks greats, Dick McGuire, plus former Knicks Eddie Donovan, and longtime Knicks business manager, John Goldner. Also, 3 Knicks Hall of Famers are here tonight to help welcome Harry into the Hall of Fame fraternity. First, the coach of both New York Knicks World Championship teams, Will Holzman. And another Hall of Famer, the one and only Pearl, number 15, Earl Monroe. And the captain, he wore number 19, Willis Reed. Now let's welcome back one of the Knicks greats from the 50s. He's here from his home in Edwardsville, Illinois, accompanied by his wife Beverly. Here is Harry the Horse Gallatin. On behalf of the Knicks, Willis Reed will now present to Harry Gallatin, appropriately, a crystal horse from Tiffany's in acknowledgement of his Hall of Fame selection. Willis?
Had a chance to mingle with some good friends of mine and to be here with Dickie, Larry Fleischer's wife and family. And I'd like to say to Harry Gallatin, who was one of my coaches, he's one of the guys I helped get fired in my career. In recognition for your contribution towards the shaping of the Knicks tradition on this day in your election to the Hall of Fame, April 16, 1991. Harry?
Harry, it should be pointed out, is an avid golfer and the longtime golf coach at Southern Illinois, so the Knicks would also like to present him with a brand new set of Wilson golf clubs. And even though he's a tennis player, we'd like to call on Red Holzman to present them to Harry. Red?
It's a great pleasure to be here tonight. Congratulate you on being inducted into the Basketball Hall of Fame. It's a great honor, one that you're very, very worthy of, and we all here at the Garden feel that we're all elected with you. So again, I hope you use those clubs for many, many years in good health, and the best wishes to you and your wife.
Thank you, Red. And now a few words from Harry Gallatin. Harry?
This is a dream come true for me. It's great to be back in New York, and you're the greatest fans in the world. Thank you very much.
Special ceremonies tonight honoring Harry the Horse Gallatin and the family of Larry Fleischer. We'll continue with our halftime activities from Madison Square Garden with the Knicks leading the 76ers 67-52. We'll be back. Tonight's halftime report brought to you by Minolta. Experience the magic of Maxim, only from the mind of Minolta. The New York Knicks with a commanding lead at the half over the Philadelphia 76ers in the final meeting of the year between these two clubs, 67-52. And the Knicks did it with a big run in that second quarter of play, 26-13, and they opened up the lead to 17. Right now to Bob Page at the MSG Sports Desk. Bullet?
Thanks, Bruce. The Meadowlands tonight, the Nets hosting the Indiana Pacers, who have that two-game lead over the Knicks for the 7th playoff spot in the Eastern Conference. Pacers about to wrap up the victory. They lead New Jersey by 8 with just 45 seconds remaining. Bill Fitch fit to be tied over this latest egg. They trailed by 10 at halftime thanks to plays like this. Bad pass by Haley, Michael Williams to Detlef Schrempf for the easy 2. In the third quarter, New Yorker Vern Fleming passes over the Nets' porous defense to Schrempf. Comes down, goes back up for another bucket, 13-point lead. Indiana on the attack again. This time Schrempf misses a long jumper. Theus with the rebound, nice pass to Mookie for the layup, but the Nets were still down by 14 at that point. At the Palace in suburban Detroit, the Pistons jumped out to a 15-2 lead over Boston. Brian Shaw loses the ball to Joe Dumars. Isaiah for a three-pointer. Pistons fans thrilled by a Detroit season-high 37 points in the first quarter. They led the Celtics by 13, continued to pour it on here in the second. Thomas lays in 2 of his 22 first-half points. He had 25 on the game. Pistons led by 23 at intermission. Can you believe that? They beat the Boston Celtics by 28. We'll talk about baseball right after this. The game being seen right now over our regular MSG service. The Yanks losing to the White Sox 3-0 in the bottom of the 6th inning. The Yankees went down 1-0 when that man, Sammy Sosa, connected for an opposite field second inning solo home run off Dave Island. In the 6th, the Sox scored 2 more, a triple by Frank Thomas and Carlton Fisk, then singled in Thomas. Melito Perez blanking the Yanks so far tonight. Mets, meanwhile, at Pittsburgh, and they are losing to the Bucks 3-2 now in the top of the 8th inning. With a score of 1-1, bottom of the 6th, Andy Van Slyke hammers a drive to dead center off Wally Whitehurst that gets out of the park for a 2-run homer. 3-1 Pittsburgh. But Whitehurst got a lift in the 7th from Mark Carrion. Carrion takes starter Randy Tomlin out to left for a solo home run to cut the margin to 3-2. Eubie Brooks also with a solo homer for the Mets tonight. Don't forget our 15-minute edition of the MSG Sports Desk this evening at 11 p.m. over MSG1. We'll return to the Knicks 76ers second half after, again, these messages.
Welcome back to Madison Square Garden. Marv Albert, John Andres, Bruce Beck, Walt Clyde Frazier. The Knicks with a 67-52 lead on the Philadelphia 76ers. Patrick Ewing with a 20-point, 8-rebound first half. He was 8 for 14 from the field. The other stats of note, Charles Oakley, 8 rebounds. 76ers with only 16 rebounds in the half. Knicks with the advantage off the boards. Mahorn had 8 of the 16. Here's Mahorn going to the hook. And back comes Cheeks. Cheeks and Tucker at the guards. And it was, let's see, last touched by the Knicks, although Ewing tried to sell the fact that it was deflected out by Mahorn.
Knicks went to the well. Once too many on that play. That's also a dangerous play when someone is around Ewing who has to go up in the air. He could come down on someone.
Knicks with their biggest lead of the night, a 15-point margin. Mahorn setting the pick for Hawkins, and Hersey was looking for the 3 and then lost it. Ewing pegging, and again off the mark. John, you trying to get in here?
I don't think there's any question that that was one of the better halves the Knicks have played this season. John McLeod has to be delighted with the first 24 minutes of this game. They out-rebounded the Sixers, outshot them, plenty of assists. 15 for a half, which is a big number, and good balance. The Knicks only had 2 men in double figures against the Sixers last week. Ewing and Gerard Mustaf, who had 12. In the first half tonight, they had 3 alone, 3 in double figures.
Here is Walker. The bucket a moment ago by Gilliam, cutting it to a 13-point Knick lead. Knicks shot 59% in the second quarter. Hawkins missing on the 3. Gilliam gets it out. Anderson shooting. And the Knicks now lead 67-56. The Knicks shot 56% for the first half. 76ers at 47%. Vandeweghe, and he will go to the foul line. Ronnie Nunn with the call. Ronnie working the game with Joe Crawford and Gary Benson. Anderson called for his first, and Vandeweghe to the line. Kiki 1 for 1 from the free throw line. He's at 90% for the season. That is number 7 in the league.
Kiki coming off a 2 for 11 against the Sixers last week, a 4 for 10 first half. Not that strong, but certainly better than that nightmare he had down in Philadelphia. But he wasn't alone. The whole Knicks team was very flat last week in Philadelphia.
Knicks by 13 with 2 minutes gone by in the third. The high men for the Sixers. Anderson with 12 points, make it 14 points. Percy Hawkins now with 14. And the Knicks lead by 11, so the Sixers have come out shooting well.
And the Knicks' pressure has lessened a bit in the opening moments here of the third quarter. As a result, the shots are coming uncontested by the Sixers.
Tentative pass by Ewing. He changed his mind, and it leads to this. Gilliam, he lost it. 3-on-2 for the Knicks. Now the Sixers able to recover. Good ball movement. Cheeks. Yes. Well, the Knicks swung it, and they found the open man. Cheeks providing a 71-58 lead for the Knicks.
Maurice now 3 for 3 for the game.
And make it 4 out of 4 off the steal, and Jim Lynam upset. He's called for a timeout. 3 minutes gone by in the third.
Back at Madison Square Garden during halftime this evening, the MetLife Nick of the Month presentation, and for the month of April, the recipient, Mark Jackson, who averaged 12 points, 5.3 assists, and shot 58% from the floor. Jim Major, agency vice president for MetLife, made the formal presentation. Here's a look at the past winners. Remember, Jackson won the MetLife Nick of the Year in '87, '88, and here's Marvin John.
All right, Bruce, 8 minutes and 50 seconds remaining in the third. 76ers again down by 15. Vandeweghe with the hustle, knocking it out of bounds. Philadelphia with a backcourt of Ricky Green and Percy Hawkins. Armin Gilliam up front with Rick Mahorn and Ron Anderson. Ricky Green with his second field goal. It's a 13-point Knick lead. Walker played tightly by Gilliam. Now Tucker for Ewing. Yes. 22 for Patrick Ewing.
Mahorn is tough on the ground, but there's no way he can get up in the air to bother Ewing when he takes that jump shot.
Patrick Ewing is averaging just under 29 a game in the 5 previous games against the Philadelphia 76ers. 11 on the shot clock. Anderson beat Vandeweghe off the dribble, then lost it. Tucker getting it down. Here's Ewing. And the Knicks extend to a 17-point lead.
Another vivid demonstration of the mobility and speed of Patrick Ewing.
Mahorn. And the Knicks now lead 77-62. 10 points for Mahorn.
Tough shot by Mahorn. He had to work so hard to get clear of Ewing and get the shot off, much less make it.
Mahorn comes out of the pack and then dished it to Anderson. Gilliam on the rebound. Armin Gilliam will go to the foul line. Tucker called for the foul. Armin Gilliam began his NBA career as a #1 draft pick of the Phoenix Suns, and he was the second selection overall out of Las Vegas. Last year dealt to Charlotte in the deal for Kurt Rambis. He averaged just under 19 for the Hornets, did most of his scoring from the low post, then was traded to the Philadelphia 76ers in the deal involving Mike Jaminski.
Armand will have a very long...
Armin, has he corrected you
sure
last year? Absolutely, Armin. And he's still upset with you about that.
We'll get back to that.
Yes, we will. Timeout has been taken.
Sixers coming out much stronger here in the third quarter. They can't seem to catch up with the Knicks, though. We're still shooting well. On that loose ball, Patrick Ewing in head of the field. No problem for him. He's having fun tonight. No one seems to be bothering Ewing on the court.
24 points on 10 out of 16 from the field. So Patrick Ewing has had his way against Rick Mahorn.
Those aren't bad numbers for Mahorn either. 10 and 8 rebounds, and he's hanging tough with Ewing on the boards.
Knicks lead at 77-63. 7 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Knicks trying to make it 5 out of 6 over the Philadelphia 76ers. Mahorn forced out a little further than he wanted. Able to recover, though. Anderson and Walker on the rebound. Again, Kenny Walker's done a nice job off the boards. Vandeweghe. Kiki attempting the shot from downtown. And Ricky Green will go to the line.
This situation now, Marv, is a very important challenge, I think, for the Knicks to see if they can sustain fine play for 48 minutes. I think they feel that they have this game won, particularly with Ewing, who's the unstoppable force. But it's very important for them to sustain a high level of play throughout 48 minutes, because that's what is going to greet them in another week or so in the playoffs. They've got to be ready to go the full 15 rounds, you know? It's that time of year we talk about.
However, yes, John, championship bouts now are 12 rounds.
Are they all 12?
I know you and Richard Steele have been chatting recently. He does get confused on that subject. Here's Ewing. Walker on the recovery, and he's stripped.
All he has to do is think about boxing, though.
Gilliam wide open, and the Knicks now lead at 77-66, just under 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter. New York Knicks at 37-42. They've dropped 5 of their last 7, 10 of the last 15.
Nice play by Gilliam.
Green for Hawkins, and the Sixers are right back in it. They now trail 77-68.
Well, the Sixers are making it very interesting now, because they are not leaving the scene despite how ineffective they looked in the first half. They're coming out strong. They're playing with pride. Gilliam with a fine defensive play. That kind of play, if it was repeated more often, would have resulted in him staying in Phoenix. That's why they traded him. But they pushed that ball up the court very effectively, and the Sixers have come to life.
At one point, the Knicks led by as many as 17. Following tonight, the Knicks have 2 games remaining on the regular season schedule. They'll face the Pacers at Market Square in Indianapolis on Friday night. We'll be on hand starting 8:30 New York time right here on the MSG network. And then Saturday it's back to the Garden to wind it up against the Charlotte Hornets. And then the playoffs, probably first round action against the Chicago Bulls, opening up either Thursday or Friday night. And the Indiana Pacers in the 7th slot would open up against the Boston Celtics. This program is authorized by Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this event without the express written consent of Madison Square Garden Productions Incorporated is prohibited. Well, the Chicago Bulls with a record of 58-21, and the Boston Celtics, who we've just received word have lost to the Pistons 118-90, now dropped to 56-23.
Keeping interest here in the Eastern Conference, because the Celtics getting thrashed without Larry Bird, showing great vulnerability. 28-point loss. The Pistons looking to make a statement, and they certainly did tonight.
And another final, Indiana knocking off the Nets 132-126. So that is now a 2.5 game lead on the Knicks. Ewing thought he was fouled. And now the foul is called. It's on Gilliam. Second team foul on the 76ers. It is a non-shooting affair. Cheeks will throw it in. Cheeks and Starks now in the backcourt. Starks replacing Tucker. Oakley is back in. He's up front with Ewing and Vandeweghe. Here's Oakley.
Beautifully executed move by Oakley. Boy, the simpler he keeps it, the better it seems to work out.
And Ronnie Nunn stopping the action, calling a pushing foul on the Knicks. It is on Oakley. That is his third. Gilliam. Nice shot, a high arcing turnaround by Armin Gilliam. 13 for Gilliam. And the Knicks lead it 79-70. Vandeweghe. And again, it's Oakley on the ball. Starks played by Hawkins. Oh, what a pass from York.
And a nice catch and follow through by Oakley.
10 points for Oakley. Knicks lead it by 11. As the Sixers wind down, Thursday they'll be home for the Celtics, their final home game of the regular season. Friday they play at Miami. Sunday at Cleveland. It'll be Sixer ball with 7 on the shot clock. Here's Gwinnett for Vandeweghe. Vandeweghe leads with 13. And as we mentioned earlier, there is a question as to when Charles Oakley will return to the action. He was hoping at one point to be back for tonight, I should say Charles Barkley. And then there was the discussion that there would be the possibility he'd be back in time for the Celtics on Thursday. But he says he's still in pain. Went through a workout yesterday with the Sixers and has trouble moving laterally. And he said he's not sure if he'll be back for the playoffs. That is unlike Charles. Here's Hawkins. Percy fouled. He will shoot a pair. Starks picks up the call, his third.
I think Charles is happy to play with people's minds too, because with all of this swirl around him this season, he has reason to feel unloved, and he's probably expressing similarly a feeling of let's confuse people a little bit. That's kind of a reflex action. Let's see how bad they want me type thing.
Well, the Sixers 5-9 when Barkley's been out of the lineup. 3 up, 3 down since the latest injury, the sprained knee. Mark Jackson has returned, replacing Maurice Cheeks. Maurice sits down 4 for 4 from the field, 8 points.
I think prior to this year, Marv, it would have been thought of as irreverent to suggest that Charles Barkley could be traded by the Sixers, and now the subject came up with all the swirl around him and his awkward off the court and on the court statements this year. And when you asked him last week how he would feel about it, he gave a very professional response. I could live with it. Everybody, the good players have been traded, and no problem. You know, I hope I don't, but you know, all the right things. But he's probably affected down deep by such a suggestion. I'm sure he thinks of himself as the Rocky of Philadelphia these days.
Sixer foul on Hawkins. Kiki Vandeweghe headed from the bench to the Knicks locker room. We're trying to check on his status. Just under 3 minutes remaining in the third quarter. Here is Gilliam, and the Knicks lead by 7. Knicks have Jackson and Starks in the backcourt. Ewing with Gwinnett and Oakley up front. Eddie Wilkins getting set to return. Jackson with room.
Knicks are missing wide open shots for the last 2 minutes.
Anderson. Oh, Hawkins showing quick hands. Gilliam missed the layup. Just under 2 minutes remaining third quarter. Jackson tried to put a move on Green, and Green just stripped him. Ricky Green, what a play. End-to-end, Green with the steal, and then able to set up Anderson.
Well, Mark Jackson simply got careless with the ball, and one of the criticisms he suffers is he'll hold the ball too long, and Ricky Green was all over him.
The Sixers with another steal. Hawkins. And they have come from a 17-point deficit to move within 3. A 20-second timeout called by the Knicks.
Well, Mark Jackson with back-to-back miscues. Very soft. You can see how telegraphed that pass was. Percy Hawkins had no problem getting his hands on it. It shows you, if you let up for a moment in the NBA, if you're not sharp at all times, other people will make you look bad. And the Sixers have moved in closely now as a result of the Knicks' sloppiness with the ball. This was not a problem for the Knicks in the first half. They protected the ball well. But Mark really got sloppy with the ball, just dribbled into Ricky Green. That was the prior play to the last poor pass by Mark.
Apparently Kiki Vandeweghe is all right. Word has been passed on. He's back on the bench. Eight on the 24. Gwinnett pushed from behind by Anderson. 1:05 left in the third. Knicks by 3. Anderson called for his second. Percy Hawkins has come on strong in this third quarter. He has 20 points in all. 8 of his 20 in the third. Anderson has 16, Gilliam with 15. Knicks led by Ewing, who has 24. Vandeweghe 13, Tucker 12, Oakley with 10.
Percy Hawkins is the man for the Sixers offensively with Charles Barkley out. Hawkins is averaging 22 a game, becomes the main scorer for this team, and he's coming through.
76ers had reeled off 8 consecutive points until the free throws by Gwinnett. Knicks now by 5. Mahorn posting Wilkins. Is a Knick turnover. The Sixers have been very aggressive defensively here in the third. That's not the case in the first half.
Well, Charles Oakley unselfishly trying to give the ball to Eddie Wilkins, but it was just poorly executed. The pass was too low for Eddie to get.
Hawkins. And Wilkins off the boards. Knicks holding for a final shot coming up on 10 seconds left in the third.
Gwinnett in a mismatch favoring him underneath with the 6'3" Percy Hawkins guarding him.
Starks from deep. What a 9/10 seconds remaining in the third, and it will be Philadelphia ball.
Curious as to why the Knicks didn't exploit that mismatch. They had plenty of time.
Mahorn throwing the prayer. Anderson. Nice play, although Anderson not able to hit on that turnaround bank. So the Sixers outscore the Knicks 28-16 in the third, and they are within 5 points. On the Wiz NBA update, Orlando knocks off Atlanta 113-106. So the 76ers now a game and a half in front of Atlanta, and the Sixers do not want to drop further down. They'd have to face Detroit to get back to those scores in a moment. Detroit knocking off Boston 118-90. Holding foul on Andre Turner as this fourth quarter gets underway. Charlotte beats Miami. Washington over Milwaukee. We mentioned Detroit over Boston. Indiana moves 2.5 in front of the Knicks. And look at that San Antonio LA Clippers score. 86-49 in the third. Chicago now 2 full games in front of Boston. Joe Crawford and Gary Benson agreeing on that call. It's on Jackson. That is the updated look at the Eastern Conference standings. So Chicago leading by 2 as they vie for a home court advantage throughout the playoffs in the Eastern Conference. Portland has already clinched the overall. And Chicago and Boston each have 3 games remaining. Anderson fires one. And Oakley on the rebound.
Chicago's are easier. They play at Miami Wednesday, tomorrow, then at Charlotte, and then finish Sunday with Detroit, whereas Boston tonight got thrashed, and then they go to Philadelphia on Thursday, at Cleveland on Friday, and Sunday home to Atlanta. Easier schedule for Chicago than Boston.
Knicks with a 5-point lead. Minute gone by in the fourth quarter. Knicks led by as many as 17. One on the shot clock. It's a 24-second violation. Manute Bol has returned. He's up front with Gilliam and Anderson, Hawkins and Turner in the backcourt. Knicks stay with Jackson and Starks at the guards. Oakley up front with Wilkins and Quinnett.
It's a great reflection on a team's defense when they hold the other team to that 24-second violation, as the Knicks just did.
One on the 24, and Bol on the rebound.
Manute nowhere near the offensive factor, Marv, that he was last week when he wheeled in 3 interesting hoops against the Knicks in Philadelphia.
That's an offensive foul. It's on Hawkins. He would be so thrilled to learn that you refer to him as an offensive factor. And he did hit a couple of nice hook shots from deep. John McLeod visiting the official scorers table, checking things out with Joe Crawford and Ronnie Nunn. Not sure what the discussion is about. Let's see, the clock seems to be all right. It is Nick Ball with 1:40 gone by in the fourth. Here's Quinnett from 3. Well, we checked with the scorers table. Hawkins from downtown. And the Knicks now lead 83-81. The steal by Turner. But apparently it is a backcourt violation. John McLeod questioned whether the Knicks got the full 24. He thought it was a fast count. And that's what his discussion in low-key fashion involved. Here's Patrick Ewing checking back in.
Only one man makes more three-point shots than Hersey Hawkins, and that's Terry Porter. Actually make that Michael Adams too. Michael not appearing in the top 10 in three-point shooting, but he's got leads the league in that category of makes. But Terry Porter, one of the fine shooters, at 42%. Hawkins at 39. Hawkins is now over 100 makes in three-point attempts this year.
76ers were down by as many as 17. They are on a 21-6 run, and they have come within 2. Vandeweghe is back, so it's Vandeweghe, Ewing, and Oakley up front. Jason Williams on Charles Oakley. And Ewing off the drive was fouled. It's on Williams. Here comes Cheeks for Jackson. Jackson leads with a field goal for 2 points. Not much happening here at the start of the fourth quarter. Cheeks. Ewing on the rebound. And the foul. A push out. Loose ball foul for Ewing. That is his first.
Seemed like an odd call. There looked like a lot of space between Ewing and Manute Bol.
Ewing just said to Bol, "I didn't push you." Manute bought it, but the official did not. Traveling violation. And the Knicks get it back. Trent Tucker returns. So the Knicks with Cheeks and Tucker in the backcourt.
Knicks need a major spark now, and John McLeod's trying to wheel people in and out in the attempt to find it.
Knicks coming off the loss in Boston. Celtics made it a 5-0 sweep of the Knicks. Bol called for the foul.
Patrick Ewing unveiled that beautiful hook shot a couple of times last week against Manute Bol. It looks like the kind of shot he's very comfortable with, and I would think John McLeod would hope that he does it more often than taking that spinning jump shot as often as he does. It's a very effective shot. It's smooth. It's very difficult to block.
Ewing now 4 out of 5 from the line. 76ers at 43 and 35. They were beaten Sunday afternoon in their last game at home. Lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves 96-88. So they lost 2 straight at home. Minnesota and Washington. This after the good-looking wins against the Knicks and Chicago. A lot of close calls here in the fourth quarter. Cheeks called for the block. Knicks with their second team foul. Knicks lead it by 2. Hawkins from Turner. Nicely done, and the game is tied at 83.
Well, the Knicks' defensive intensity, or the lack of defensive intensity, has resulted in the Sixers coming on strong. They came out determined in the third quarter, and they have gotten it done.
Hawkins tried to draw the foul. Tucker. The Knicks yet to score in this fourth quarter. And we played almost 4 minutes of the quarter.
Nice help by Vandeweghe.
Game tied at 83. Oakley. And Turner racing it down. Andre Turner giving the Sixers an 85-83 lead. It is the first time they have led, and the Knicks hear it from the crowd as they call for timeout. 7:41 left in the fourth quarter. The Sixers lead the Knicks 85-83, and the Knicks are 0 for the fourth quarter.
The Knicks are still looking strong in the rebounding department. They're up 41-34, something that has been a major problem for them, but this is where they're hurting now. They can't put the ball in the hole, which is a problem the Sixers have had their last 2 games when they've shot the ball very poorly, but they're out of that slump here in the second half.
Turner from downtown. Well, we've got almost 5 minutes. Jason Williams called for the foul. Almost 5 minutes gone by in this fourth quarter, and the Knicks have not scored in the quarter. Patrick Ewing had 20 points at the half. The last time he scored was midway through the third. He's gone over 12 minutes without a field goal. Vandeweghe for 3. Air ball handled by Brian Oliver, who just checked in. Here's Turner on the run. Leading Williams. Jason Williams from Andre Turner. And the Sixers with a 4-point lead.
Well, the air ball comes from the hand in the face. Because of their good offensive play, the Sixers are now working hard on defense, making the shot attempts by the Knicks very difficult.
Ewing. And Oliver rebounds.
Knicks have also stopped passing the ball to one another. They're rushing their shots.
Knicks 0 for 9 from the floor in the fourth. Here's Oliver.
Cheeks' direction is very important now.
On the shot clock. Offensive foul or block? No, it's a block on Turner. John Starks and Kenny Walker replacing Charles Oakley, Kiki Vandeweghe, and John McLeod looking to shuffle, is about to insert Greg Grant for the first time, just looking to get something going. Cheeks will go to the foul line. Sixers over the limit. Knicks down by 4.
This is a game gamble by John McLeod, too, because he loses so much on the boards with Oakley out and the scoring potential with Vandeweghe out. Now, that granted, Oakley's not expected to carry this team, but he's been very important in this one.
Well, the Knicks went 6 minutes, 6 seconds of the fourth quarter before they finally score a point. They had only 16 points in the third quarter. We're looking at 18 points in the half. Sixers lead by 2. Here's the hook by Manute. And the foul on Oliver. So Ewing to the line. That's Greg Grant coming on for Maurice Cheeks. Grant playing for the first time tonight. Ewing is 4 for 6 from the foul line. The Knicks, as we go back to the third quarter, have not converted a field goal for 10 minutes and 50 seconds. That is unbelievable.
That is such a number that we may be talking about a record.
And that's a tough one to check out. But yes, club record perhaps. The 10-50, that's a lot. Boy, John, that's almost a full quarter. Timeout call. We'll be right back.
Having good times with friends, use good sense and drink responsibly. Please know when to say when. A reminder for Budweiser.
5:34 to go in a fourth quarter that the Knicks would like to forget about. They were leading by as many as 17. They led 83-78 after 3. And they have not scored a field goal in 10 minutes and 50 seconds. An extraordinary feat in NBA annals, I'd have to say. 10 minutes and 50 seconds without a field goal being scored.
Marv, if
let's talk about this, John.
If people other than you and I knew this, like the fans, they would be reacting greatly.
Game is tied at 87. The Knicks with only 4 points in this fourth quarter, all at the foul line, and we have 5:20 remaining. Good defensive work. 3 on the shot clock. Anderson fires in desperation. 24-second violation. And apparently a foul has been called. Offensive foul on Anderson as the shot clock ran out.
Knicks came to life defensively. They played complete denial.
Here's Kenny Walker. The Sixers were looking for offensive interference, and Jim Lynam was so upset he ran out to the court to get in the face of Ronnie Dunn. The basket does count. The Knicks finally score. They went 11 minutes and 28 seconds without a field goal, and Lynam so upset off what he felt was a lack of a call of offensive interference. He's hit with a technical, and Kenny Walker will shoot the tee. So they go 32 seconds short of a full quarter without a field goal. Here it is.
Well, Jim Lynam had a better angle than we have. It's hard to say if the ball cleared the cylinder or not, but Lynam was kind of on line with the basket, felt that it did not clear. And Kenny Walker gets the opportunity to shoot the foul shot. Kenny is 79% foul shooter. That's somewhat of a surprise that the Knicks sent him to the line, to me.
Knicks by 2, 89-87. Armin Gilliam is back. He was hit by Kenny Walker. That's 3 on Walker. Knicks with their 13th foul. Sixers are over the limit. Green backing Grant. Hawkins try to work off the pick. Green. Anderson. Here's Hawkins. And the game is tied at 89. Hawkins has 27. Big second half for Hersey Hawkins. Wide open 3 for Starks. Knicks wanted to travel, but it is a tripping foul. John Tucker. Cheeks returns, replacing Grant.
I get the feeling Maurice Cheeks felt he was sitting for the night because he had the sweatpants all buckled up. He had to unbuckle them to come back in now.
Maurice, the one-time Philadelphia 76er, had a terrific run with the Sixers. He heard it from the crowd during the introduction of the lineups when we were at the Spectrum last Wednesday. Got a nice greeting. Tied at 89. Just under 4 to go in the fourth. Hawkins tipped home by Anderson. And the Sixers lead at 91-89.
Well, the Knicks going now with the smaller lineup with Trent Tucker by definition now a forward, and the Knicks did not box out Anderson.
Here's Ewing. That is only their second field goal of this fourth quarter. Game tied at 91. The Knicks went nearly 12 minutes without a field goal from the third quarter right through this fourth. The Knicks have scored only 24 points in the second half. Tucker off the steal, had to save it. Starks will go to the foul line. Apparently,
intentional foul, yes. I think, Marv.
Ruling that Starks had a clear path to the basket.
2 in possession, I think, was the call by Ronnie Nunn. Starks creamed to the floor, and Ronnie Nunn made that call very clearly.
Gilliam picks up his third. Starks a 75% free throw shooter.
Meanwhile, the key part of that sequence was Trent Tucker playing very tough defense on Ron Anderson. He sensed that pass coming Anderson's way, and he stole that ball.
Knicks lead it by 1. 2:59 remaining in the fourth quarter. Mahorn getting help. Cheeks, yes. Knicks lead 94-91. Cheeks is 5 for 6 for 12 points. Mahorn setting the deep pick and try to work the pick and roll, but Hawkins couldn't get it to him and lost. That's a foul on Hawkins.
Foul the Knicks are very unhappy about it, too. They had a clear layup situation. Hawkins getting a little sloppy with the ball. Ewing helping with the pressure, and that might have helped confuse Hawkins in his attempt to dribble the ball successfully.
Third foul committed by Hersey Hawkins. Maurice Cheeks, 2 for 2 from the line, an 82% free throw shooter.
Maurice showing much more offensive capability tonight. In his last 9 games, he has averaged 4.9 a game. He has not been shooting the basketball. Sunday, 3 shots against the Boston Celtics in 30 minutes, but hopefully for the Knicks, he will start taking shots as he has tonight.
Knicks lead at 95-91. 2:20 left in the fourth. Chant of defense. And again, the Sixers turn it over. There's Starks getting down. He beat the Sixers. But Anderson with a terrific play and then lost it to Cheeks.
How about Cheeks hitting the boards and wrestling that ball away?
Anderson stopped the drive by Starks, but Cheeks able to recapture. Ewing, whoa, way off. Mahorn. And a good look from Ricky Green, 95-93. Knicks with the lead and the ball. And they're trying to call for time, but Cheeks did not realize it. He was going 1-on-5. Now the timeout taken. 1:38 to go in the fourth. Here at Madison Square Garden. The timeout rundown. The Sixers in good shape. 3 full timeouts and a 20. The Knicks down to 1 remaining timeout. The Knicks have scored only 28 points in the second half. They've been outscored by the 76ers 41-28. It has been an abysmal second half. The Knicks went 11 minutes 28 seconds from the third through the fourth quarter at one stretch without scoring a field goal. It's very difficult to check that kind of record, a record of dubious distinction, but I think the Knicks will be right there in that department in terms of negativity, lack of a field goal for that long a stretch. Starks on the rebound, gets it to Tucker. We're down to 1:20 left in the fourth. The Knicks lead it 95-93.
It will be remarkable if the Knicks can overcome that dubious statistic and win the game.
Knicks at one point led by as many as 17. They had a superb first half. Here's Tucker, 5 on the shot clock. Rebounded by Mahorn. So the Sixers within 2 and with the ball. Gilliam off a double team. Regroups. Mahorn for Gilliam. Strong move to the hoop. Kept alive by Mahorn. And a foul is called. Good hustle by Rick Mahorn. Tucker called for the foul. That's 4 on Trent. Rick Mahorn with 15 rebounds. And he has come up very strong in the second half.
Interesting, John McLeod staying with Kenny Walker on the boards now in favor of Oakley, who's had a very solid game himself. One thing we know, Marv, from history this season is the Knicks don't want to get into an overtime game against the Sixers, who have played 13 and won 8.
Mahorn, a 78% free throw shooter, hits on both, and he's tied the game at 95. The Knicks now using their final timeout. We'll get back to that overtime point when we come back. 10 seconds remain in this fourth quarter. The Knicks and Sixers tied at 95. And Don, as you mentioned a moment ago, you don't want to get into an overtime ball game with the Sixers, who have been in 13 of them thus far this season. They tied the record that was held by the New York Knicks. You remember that club, 50 and 51.
I bet that's what Harry Gallatin is thinking right now. Harry's sitting here watching the game. He was on that team.
And the Philadelphia 76ers have won 8 of those 13 overtime games, and that is a tie for most overtime victories. They share it with the Bucks of 77-78. They won their 8th and their 13th overtime a week and a half ago as they upset the Chicago Bulls in Chicago. It's been an odd game for the New York Knicks. They had 33 points in the first quarter, 34 in the second quarter. You see the 3 for 17 in the fourth quarter, and they've hit only 28 points in the second half. They had 16 points in the third and only 12 here in the fourth.
Everything is in their favor to take this game and win it now, despite all of those horrible numbers, because they have the ball, they have a tie game, and they're in position to get a good shot now.
15 on the shot clock. Vandeweghe shaking off Mahorn and then stopped. Anderson gets to it. And Jim Lanham calls for the timeout. So now the Sixers in excellent position with 20 and 8/10 seconds to go in this fourth quarter. Tied at 95. We'll be back after these words.
Favored the Knicks moments ago. The Knicks with no timeouts now. The Sixers in control. The Knicks getting the ball to Vanderway baseline, goes up with that left hand, which is certainly not as strong as his right, as he wasn't that clear. Sixers clear the ball, call a timeout. Now with 20 seconds to go, the Sixers are in control of this tied ball game.
Among the many problems suffered by the Knicks, Kiki Vanderway opened up 4 for his first 5. He is now 4 for 15.
And after that 2 for 11 last week, that's a haunting number. Kiki at one point last week had missed 8 straight. Here tonight he's missed 10 straight against the Sixers.
Charles Oakley, Ryan Quinnett, and Patrick Ewing now up front. Brent Tucker, Maurice Cheeks in the backcourt. 76ers go with Rick Mahorn, Ron Anderson, Armin Gilliam on the forward line, and Hersey Hawkins and Ricky Green in the backcourt.
Well, the Sixers have plenty of time. They can go with whatever they call a good shot, which undoubtedly will involve either Ron Anderson or Hersey Hawkins.
Tied at 95, down to 15 seconds. Down to 10. Tucker got a piece of it, couldn't control. Green with 1 second, blocked by Tucker. And a clean block indicated by the outside official, Gary Benson. So the Knicks and the 76ers go to overtime. And that now a new NBA record, as the 76ers will be involved in their 14th overtime game. In New York, Marv Albert, John Andres, Bruce Beck, Walt Clyde Frazier. The Knicks and the 76ers tied at 95, and we go to overtime, something the 76ers are accustomed to. And John, you're viewing history, NBA history, right before your very eyes. Overtime number 14 for the 76ers. That is a new league record.
Say that definitively. However, we might also have witnessed history with the Knicks failing to score for almost an entire quarter. It's amazing they're in position to win the game in view of that.
To think you show up here at Madison Square Garden tonight and you think you might just see an ordinary ball game as you watch the last play. A good defensive effort by the Knicks, and Trent Tucker able to stop the final shot attempt. But who would think you would see a ball club go 11 minutes and 28 seconds without scoring a field goal and overtime record-setting ball game.
And maybe win the game. I can't get over that. Meanwhile, Trent Tucker saved the day with 2 gigantic defensive plays in the closing efforts there by the Sixers.
5-minute overtime. The Knicks with only 28 points in the second half. A 12-point third quarter, 16 in the fourth.
Well, Horn didn't even bother to jump on that tip with Ewing.
Ricky Green looking for the steal, but he knocked it out. Knicks maintain possession. 76ers also gunning for the NBA record for most overtime victories, seeking their 9th OT win. 5 on the shot clock. Cheeks. And here come the Sixers, 2-on-1. Green with Hawkins. Cheeks with the rejection. And Oakley stepped out. As he received the pass, he had the foot on the line.
Sloppy by Charles as he's working his way back into form. He's played a decent amount tonight. That's an odd move by him to make an error like that.
Charles has played very well. 10 points, 14 rebounds. Second game back after missing 5 with the knee injury. Gilliam trying to back Ewing. And Cheeks slapped it away. Anderson on the recovery was hit by Quinnett. Ron Anderson will go to the line. Anderson is 2 for 2 from the free throw line. He has 18 points. The Knicks had the outstanding first half. They shot just under 60%, 67 points. But look at the second half. They put up 16 points and then 12.
Meanwhile, when you consider this, the Sixers are playing really without a center, as they have been of late, and for the season for that matter. I mean, Bowl is a backup guy, and Mahorn is really not a starting full-time center. They're doing an incredible job. And the Knicks certainly have one of the best in the game, and they're not maximizing him once again.
And Patrick Ewing did get off to the fast start. He had 20 points at the half. Here is Ewing, and he's fouled by Mahorn. Ewing did not like the aggressiveness of Rick Mahorn, and they exchanged looks. Ewing to the line. He is 6 out of 8 from the free throw line. Mahorn has 4 fouls. The game is tied at 96.
Cheeks and he having some words. Maurice probably telling him, Ricky, if I had you down low, I would kill you. Knowing Maurice's sly ways, probably saying something like that to him.
Knicks by 1 with 3:40 remaining in overtime. The matchup is Ewing on Gilliam. Anderson. Gwinnett from Cheeks. He lost the grip. Did not get off the shot he desired.
Think of those costly scoring opportunities missed by the Knicks. Oakley stepping out of bounds moments ago on a fast break, and now this situation.
Hawkins driving on Gwinnett. And the foul is called. It's on Ewing. Ewing trying to help out. Call for his second. Percy Hawkins very happy to see the one-on-one move. He felt confident he could beat Gwinnett off the dribble, and he did. John Starks over to the scorer's table. He will come on.
Didn't appear that Gwinnett was trying to push Hawkins to the middle where he could get help. When you allow a man who's quicker than you to go baseline, you are reducing your chances of getting any help.
Hawkins, an excellent free throw shooter, 87%. A rare miss for Hersey, now 6 for 7 from the line. The Knicks and the Sixers tied at 97. 3 minutes left in overtime. Seven on the 24. Ewing. Knicks lead 99. 97, 34 for Ewing.
Starks doing a good job denying what the Sixers wanted to do, and that is get Hawkins off a pick.
5 on the shot clock. 3. Hawkins, he just did beat the 24-second buzzer.
He blew by Starks, who's quick and who had done a good job denying him moments before.
Percy Hawkins with 30. And the game is tied at 99.
Everyone knew Hawkins was a great jump shooter when he came out of college. But his ability to put the ball on the floor is what has made him an all-star.
Green picked up the foul. 2:06 remaining in overtime. Here's Ewing. And he'll go to the line. Well, the poor shooting may be contagious. The Knicks went almost a full quarter between the third and fourth without converting a field goal. The 76ers going back to the fourth quarter went 4.5 minutes without hitting a field goal.
It seems when Ewing gets the ball 10 to 15 feet from the basket, Mahorn just cannot handle him, because Patrick facing Mahorn puts the ball on the floor and shoots over him or draws the contact as he just did. When he tries to bang with him down low, it becomes more difficult for Ewing. But Mahorn now picks up his 5th, and Ewing can take this game over if this can continue.
Knicks 101, 76ers 99, just under 2 minutes remaining in overtime. Will lead off. Steve Farr worked the perfect ninth. He got the last 2 outs in the 8th, so he has an inning and 2/3. And that is number 4 on Oakland.
Not a bad gamble by Oakley. It appeared he could have gotten that ball, and it was a non-shooting foul.
Anderson working off the pick. So the Knicks with the ball. Minute and a half remaining in overtime, and the Knicks lead it by 2.
Sixers either go to Hawkins or Anderson for jump shooting. Or Armand Gilliam, rather. He feels very left out of the offense, I would think.
Tucker looking to elude Green. And hits the 3. The Knicks lead it 104-99. Trent Tucker with his 3rd successful from downtown. Trent Tucker hitting from downtown, and that was his 500th career 3-pointer. And the announcement being made on the public address, and he hits it in clutch fashion.
It looked as though Trent was going to be bothered now by Ricky Green on this, but he wasn't. He kept his concentration, and he joins an exclusive club. Now the 7th player in NBA history to reach the 500 mark for 3-point field goals.
The leader, Michael Adams of Denver, who likes to fire them up. Dale Ellis, Danny Ainge, Larry Bird, Craig Hodges, Darrell Griffith, and Trent hitting number 500. So with 1:08 remaining in overtime, the Knicks now lead 104-99, trying to defeat a 76er team that has done extremely well in overtime ball games. They have won 8 and lost 5. This is a record-setting 14th overtime for the Sixers. Here's another look at the shot by Trent Tucker. And the Knicks have also been successful in overtime. They are 6 up, 2 down in OT. Gilliam will throw in. And Ewing looking to apply the pressure. Coming up on 1 minute remaining in overtime. Here's Green for 3.
Knicks succeeded in getting the least likely jump shooter to take that shot.
Yes, Ricky Green only 8 for 35 from 3-point land. And John Starks to the foul line. Sixers with the 8 wins in overtime, tied with the 77-78 Milwaukee Bucks for most overtime wins in a single season. Starks now 3 out of 5 from the line, and the Knicks now expand to a 6-point lead.
You know, Marv, it really is interesting to me as I reflect on it how the Sixers do not go to Gilliam. I mean, Oakley has had problems, as he has mentioned in the past, about not being part of the Knicks offense. Gilliam, who's a big scorer, just has to get what he can. Nobody comes to him.
And you would think it would be a little bit easier with Barkley out of the lineup. That was a problem, getting him the ball with both he and Barkley on the floor at the same time. Now to 35 seconds left in overtime. So the Knicks, after the horrendous shooting second half, they led by as many as 17 at one stretch, able to settle down and take over in overtime. They've outscored the Sixers 11-4 in the extra session, make it 13-4 as Patrick Ewing now has 38 points. Knicks lead 108-99. Starts with the steal, finds Cheeks in no hurry. Tucker, they'll just run it down, and the Knicks will go to 20-20 here at the Garden. They make it 7 up, 2 down in overtime. They defeat the 76ers 108-99. And that is 5 out of 6 over Philly this season. Sixers dropped to 43 and 36, and the Knicks are now 38 and 42. Again, the final in overtime. The Knicks 108 and the Philadelphia 76ers 99.
Ball game tonight at Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks win it in overtime over the Philadelphia 76ers, 108-99. And the big bucket of overtime, Trent Tucker's 500th career three-pointer. It looked for a moment as though he was going to fumble the basketball. Then he fired it with the shot clock winding down. He nails it to put the Knicks up 104-99, and they go on to win it in OT, 108-99. The Knicks outscoring Philly 13-4 in overtime. At one point in this ball game, the Knicks led by 17. They were coasting in the third quarter of play, and then Philadelphia came back. They went on a 27-6 tear. The Sixers took control early in the fourth, but the Knicks battled back. They got the game to overtime, and they win it in overtime. New York is now 20-20 at home this year for the first time since early November when they were 2-2. They are 500 at Madison Square Garden. Quite a ball game tonight. The leading scores are brought to you by your Tri-State Jeep and Eagle dealers, Advantage Jeep and Eagle. Patrick Ewing led the way with 38 for New York. Trent Tucker, who hit that big three, had 15. Maurice Cheeks, a lot of big steals, a lot of clutch plays defensively down the stretch, had 13. Vandeweghe 12, and Oakley in his second game back from his knee injury contributed 10 points. For the 76ers, Hersey Hawkins had 30, but struggled the last couple of minutes to make the big bucket after he made that drive. Anderson at 19, Gilliam a quiet 15, and Rick Mahorn, who was a terror on the boards with 15-plus rebounds, also had 14 points. So the Knicks win the season series 5-1 over Philadelphia, 108-99 tonight in OT. We'll be back. New York Knicks have won 9 of 12 at home, 3 in a row. They beat the 76ers tonight in overtime, 108-99, but it wasn't easy. The Avion Natural Springwater player of the game is Patrick Ewing, who finishes with 38 points and 11 rebounds, and had 8 of the Knicks' 13 points in overtime. So when New York needed buckets down the stretch, they went to Ewing. He also went 4 for 4 from the line in the extra session. And here he is with a monster follow of a Cheeks miss for 2 of his points tonight. Guests will receive a Be My Guest restaurant certificate from American Express, honored at restaurants in the U.S. and Canada accepting the American Express card. Be My Guest, the perfect wedding, anniversary, or thank you gift. To order with the card, call 1-800-535-GIFT. Membership has its privileges. The dunk of the game brought to you by Budweiser, the king of beers with that distinctively clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And we pick up the action once again with Patrick Ewing going to the basket. First of all, a rebound by Mahorn. He loses it. Ewing swipes it clean and slams it back home. So Patrick dominating the post-game honors tonight. Here's a look at the Eastern Conference standings as we speak right now. The Knicks still trail the Pacers by 2, but that big ball game coming up Friday in Indiana. Meanwhile, Chicago edging closer to clinching the home court advantage throughout the Eastern Conference. They lead by Boston by 2 games as well. So the Knicks and the Pacers will slug it out in Indiana on Friday at 8:30. You'll see it right here on MSG. For Marv Albert, John Andres, and Walt Clyde Frazier, I'm Bruce Beck. Good night from the Garden.